Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise. You were only waiting for this moment to arise.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Utica. I'm Ryan Miller, a member of the worship committee and first-time tech support on today's service, so please bear with me. Whether you're visiting for the first time or have been a member for many years, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, you are welcome here. Whomever you are and whoever you love, you are welcome here. We are invited to bring our whole selves to this worship service, our doubts as well as our convictions and the pain and the joy we have known, our longing for connection and understanding. Every part of you is welcome here. If you're signing in today for the first time, we're glad you've joined us and we hope that you stay for the informal conversation in breakout groups after the service. The one announcement we have today is to introduce our speaker. Today's speaker is Pastor Mike Ballman of Cornerstone Community Church in Utica. According to Mike's Twitter bio, he is a follower of Jesus, a father, husband, pastor, baller, and community builder. I'd like to add that he's a force for social justice in our area and is a founder, a mentor, and an enabler of several not-for-profits and social enterprises in Utica, including the Oneida Square Project. And you may have seen some of the beautiful mosaic work that they do around the city, including these gorgeous trash receptacles that you can see all around the region. That's Mike and his team, and we're very happy to welcome him to speak with us today. So let us open our hearts and our minds to the experience of community and the wisdom of love.
Our call to worship is by Vance Bass. Every day brings struggle. Every day brings joy. Every day brings us the opportunity to ease the struggle of another, to be the joy in another's life. May this flame remind us to carry our light to each other and to the world. Let us join together in this worship.
Something near to which we can belong. one among us fills us all with pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends, they will linger on and on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found our joy being together. And in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
And our chalice lighting this morning is by George Kimmick Beach. In the mystery of life, about us there is light. It gives us a place to be, to grow, and to rejoice together. It opens the pathways to love. And in this place of friendship, there is freedom. Let the light we kindle go before us, strong in hope, wide in goodwill, inviting the day to come. And for Together Time today, I wanted to share a book that is one of my daughter's favorites, actually, and it fits with, I think, Mike's theme today of resilience. And it's called Rosie Revere, Engineer. And I'm not going to read it. I found someone that's much more qualified to read this than I will. So I'm going to turn this over to them.
Written by Andrea Beatty, illustrated by David Roberts, read by Miss St. Germain. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. When Rosie was young, she had not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts, a hot dog dispenser and helium pants. The uncle she loved most was Zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head, from parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud. But Fred slapped his knee, and he chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed, and his eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at that cheese hat, and then looked away. "I love it," Fred hooted. Oh, truly I do. But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat on the back of her shelf, and after that day, kept her dreams to herself. And that's how it went, until one autumn day, her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who'd worked building planes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of all the things she had done and the goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that one up to an old lady's dreams. That night, as Rosie laid wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at that cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky, and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her aunt fly. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The Hello Cheese copter sputtered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a heartbeat and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." She turned round to leave, but then great-great-aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "You did it! Hooray! It's the perfect first try! This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said dear Rosie. "It's just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheese copter crashed." "Yes," said her great aunt, "it crashed, that is true. But first it did just what it needed to do before it crashed, Rosie. Before that, it flew." "Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life might have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. They worked till the sun sneaked away to its bed. Aunt Rose tied her headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile ear to ear, to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. If you love this story as much as I do, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel to hear more.
Love that book. Now we're going to move to our offering. And this is the offering that we take each Sunday. It's not just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and these people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. And when we give, we say yes to something we value. And with our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. And obviously you can mail a check or you can donate online, and we appreciate every gift that we get. And now we practice community candles, which is an opportunity for the congregation to be with one another as we mark notable things happening in our lives this week. If you'd like to light a candle where you are, please do so, and in frame, if you would like. If you'd like to briefly share about a significant event of your life and have me light a candle, please unmute yourself or type into the chat. You can also privately message me and we'll light a candle in silence for you. I'd like to start.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blowing the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirits of life, come to me, come to me.
We're going to do a brief reading by Margaret Weiss. It's entitled, "The Church Has Left the Building." The church is not a place, it is a people. The church is not only a steeple above the tree line, streets, and cars. Rather, it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and of justice. The church is not walls built upon stone, held together by mortar, but rather a person, linked with person, all ages and abilities. A community built on the foundation of reason, faith, and love. The church is not just a set of doors open on a Sunday morning, but the commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts creaking open to the doors of welcome, to the possibility of new experience and radical welcome. The church is not simply a building, a steeple, a pew. The church is the gathering together of all the people and experiences and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts. Gathering, however we can, to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache, pick up love and hope. For the church is us, each and every one of us together, a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. And I'd like to invite Mike to share his remarks with us.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for inviting me to come be with you again. I really enjoyed my last time with you guys. Probably almost a year ago, I think it was. Thank you again. And I know that I'm speaking to a group that has proven over time that you are a resilient bunch. For you are still here. You are still gathering during this time of unprecedented uncertainty. COVID has changed all of our lives, and whether we want to or not, has pushed us around and has made us adapt. And so today's topic is resilience. And I'm sure that you've probably been talking about this in your other messages on resilience, that the New York Times has had a series of articles on how to be resilient. And as I was looking at them, I was thinking, I appreciate what they are saying in their articles about what the characteristics of resilient people are and the things that we should all strive to. But it made me think that maybe they were missing something. And I wanted to propose to you this morning that resilience is a team sport. Resilience isn't something that we should be left to do or to be on our own. It's something that we need desperately each other to be able to achieve. I think resilience comes from a team. It comes from being together. It comes from living in community. It comes from sharing life with one another. And I think this pandemic has brought us all to a place where we realize that, as independent as we all felt, we really aren't that independent, and that we truly do need others. We need our healthcare workers. We need the frontline workers. We need everyone, and that we are more interdependent than we ever thought. And so, as I shared with you last time, that's something that my family has learned over time, having a handicapped kid that is chronically ill, is that we learned that we really needed other people, that we couldn't raise him by ourselves, that it truly takes a village to raise one another. So what I wanted to propose to you today, with the idea that resilience is a team sport, is the idea that, we often think that to be resilient is to have courage and perseverance and bravery. And I would agree that those are part of it. But I wouldn't say that resilience comes mostly from courage and bravery. I think resilience comes from love. Because resilience is a team sport, I think we need one another. And so I wanted to read for you a passage that I know you're all familiar with, by the Apostle Paul. He said this: "Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres." And so I think that the way that we are able to be resilient as individuals is to be a part of a community that loves us. We all need love to have the courage and the perseverance to make it through our trials in life, whether it be this unprecedented crazy pandemic that we find ourselves in, or whether it be the sickness of a loved one, or a personal sickness, or unemployment, or rejection of a loved one, or whatever it is that brings sadness and challenge to us. I would argue that being resilient isn't pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Being resilient is being loved by people who care about you, and being in a community that can do that for you. So I just wanted to share, the New York Times had a few characteristics of people who are resilient. And it says, people who are resilient, they have a positive, realistic outlook, and they don't dwell on the negative. And I would argue that that is true, but I would argue that you need the love and support of others to be able, when you are so low and down that you can't see anything but the rain and the fog, you need friends who will love you and care for you and be with you. And the New York Times says that you must have a belief in something greater than yourselves to be resilient. And I would argue that that is completely true, and that we need other people in our lives that come to us and say, we love you, and that you are a part of our community, you're a part of our tribe, you're a part of our people, and you matter, and we are with you, and we stand with you. And then it says, the New York Times, that people who are resilient are altruistic. They have a concern for others and a degree of selflessness. And if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's taught us how important it is to love our neighbor above ourselves. For each of us carry the health of one another in our own hands by how we follow the precautions, and how we care for one another, and how we think and consider the needs of others above ourselves when we consider what we need and where we should go and how we should take care of ourselves, because we're all connected, and we all belong to one another. And the New York Times also says that a resilient person has a mission, a meaning, and a purpose. And so I would argue that loving one another is our meaning and our purpose. And it is what keeps us together, and it allows us to be resilient for when we are down. Others can help us and lift us up. And then when we are up, we can lift others up. And so, and finally, the New York Times, I think, wisely says that a resilient person has a social support system and they support others. And I would argue that that is exactly true. That is what Paul says about love, that we need one another, that we are interdependent, and that we are a body that is joined together. All of us have different gifts and experiences and backgrounds and talents and perspectives and stories of our journey that we can share with one another, that we can lift each other up and build each other up. And so in this time and in every time, I would propose to you that resilience is a team sport, and we must recognize that we need others and others need us, and that we belong to one another. And so one of the things that I've shared with you is that my son throughout the years would have very long periods of being very sick, and there was nothing we could do. We had a sense of hopelessness. We were just depending on what the doctors would tell us, and those were very dark days for us. And what helped us get through is the love of community and people bringing us meals and just sitting with us and being with us and listening to us. And then also people allowing us to care for them, even in our darkest times, giving us the opportunity to reach beyond ourselves. And sharing love when we were at our lowest point allowed us to feel connected to God, to community, to one another. And it helped us experience the love that we needed to be resilient. And so may we always be people who recognize when we feel at our lowest that it's not a call to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps on our own, but it's a call for love, to allow others to love us and to love one another. And may we be people who are constantly caring for one another. And when we see one another suffering and down, may we bring the love that we need to help each other be resilient. And so I think you are a wonderful community of teamwork and love, and you do everything that is required to love one another. And so I hope my words today are encouraging to you to continue to love one another and to live in love. And for all things, know that it's okay if you feel like you can't pull yourselves up by your own bootstrap, that you don't have the energy to do it by yourself. That's what community is for. And call and ask and reach out and be willing to answer that call for people and to make that call for one another. Because love covers all things. Love always protects, always hopes, always perseveres. Love covers everything. Amen.
I'd like to invite you to join us in singing our closing hymn, number 27, I'm That Great Fiery Force.
I shine in glitter on the
And I'm going to ask Mike if he would do our benediction this morning.
Yes. Hear the words of the benediction by Eric Williams. The world is too beautiful to be praised by only one voice. May you have the courage to sing your part. The world is too broken to be healed by only one set of hands. May you have the courage to use your gifts. May you go in peace.
And I will extinguish, if you can join me in extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. The warmth of community, the fire of commitment, these we carry in our hearts until we meet again. And we hope you stick around for coffee and music. And thank you so much, Mike. And thank you so much, Melissa, for assisting today with tech. Thank you guys for being here.